Today I'd like to talk to you about part 2 in the powder coating series, and that's actually the oven frame. Now you may think, no big deal about the oven frame, just at home in your kitchen you just got a hole in the walls, rectangle, and you slide it in. True, if you wanted it to sit inside your kitchen, a hole in the wall. But the CNC4A technique is always one of the innovation, thinking outside the square. And as I mentioned, I wanted it to be both horizontal for say putting wheels in and vertical for putting long arms in. So I've made the frame so as you can lay down. That's what this 2-inch 50mm RHS sections are. That can be hoisted up, it can be bolted down, it can be carried by 2 men. Also it raises the bottom of the oven off the ground, bit of air circulation, stop the heat. But also I want it to be transportable. A lot of people, they build the oven and it's stuck in their workshop and it takes up an enormous space and it's always there and they don't always use it. If you're doing it full time, fine, that's another thing, but with me I do a bit of this, a bit of that, I make that, I can powder coat that or anodise that or black oxide that, so, or spray paint it, so there's lots of different processes I do, and the workshop isn't that big. So I wanted to make it, push it out the way when I don't want it, bring it back in when I do, tilt it down for the wide stuff, tilt it up for the high stuff, which I've done. But I've also found some other things I'd like to mention to you. When it's in your wall, it's just got a couple of screws and it fits on one piece of wood. That's what it sits on, these 2 skids. That's fine. But when you make the frame up, if you weld it all up, if you want to remove any of these panels and your frame's fits like a glove, you'll have to cut it to get it off. And as we know, the electronics are all of that in here. There's a problem, I want to be able to take this panel off. So I've actually made the frame in several sections. You'll see in these photos. So it's the scrap metal I had laying around, bits of angle, bits of RHS. And so what that does is that it forms the shape on the outside. On one end can unbolt. The other end can unbolt as well. But at least one end can unbolt. So to take the frame off, I just have to take this off, lift up the oven, and I've got access to all the screws that are covered by the framework. And if it's this panel, the rear panel, top panel, I can quickly, in a couple of minutes, loosen off a few screws and get at it. So when you're designing your frame, design it for maintenance and see what you have to do in case something goes wrong. Some spots I've even ground a cutout in the angle so as I can get the screwdriver in. Also, it's on legs. Again, I've got the clearance for air. If you make your 4 legs the same length, which is good, but you'll soon find out in your concrete floor, some parts rock, some parts don't. So make one leg adjustable. I haven't finished that leg yet, I've just cut it off a bit and just put a slot and a couple of bolts so as you can pull the leg down or weld a nut in and so as you can put a bolt down and that will level it. So that was that solution that you need to do when you're thinking about making it versatile. The other one is, how do you move it? Well, another ingenious method is I've got 2 swivel casters. They're cheap and you can get them off the old office chairs. People these days can weigh up to 100 kilos, so to have 5 wheels, 20 kilos each. So if you have 2 wheels, that's 40 kilos. So I've only used 2. And if you pull out the pin, as these photos will show, you can drill it through all the way and put a bolt on. I've drilled one RHS, the square tube, put in a nut cert. Look at my other videos on nut certs if you don't know what they are and how to use it. And I bolt it in. And I've got it sitting hard up against the frame and hard up in there, so it doesn't swivel. It's locked in position. Why? Because to move it, you want a solid work surface. So if it's on casters, it will move. You can get locking casters, but then you'll have to have another setup here. So you actually get it at the pivot point. A bit like those trolleys you use for lifting up your fridge and moving around. They sit flat, the wheel sits up a bit higher, then when you tilt it back, it goes on the wheels. That's what this idea is for. So we just put our foot there, tilt it back, easy to move around the workshop. As you can see, the smaller section is on the framework. That's the bit that needs the adjuster on it. So that's how easy it is to move around. I'll push it over here. There's the floor height. You can put it in, put your heavy stuff in, let it go up. The controls are on the side there and you lift it up. Change I would probably do with that is I may have made them a bit lower so as the actual angle before it starts rolling. That's easy to move, but if you're in a tight space you haven't got enough room to tilt it back. So there's a framework around there, framework up there, no framework on the top, and framework along the side, and that bolts on. So it works fantastic. Move it around, I can store it, excellent. But there's another strange thing that happens when it's in the vertical position. Your door weighs a bit and they've got the hinges with the springs. So when you lower it, the weight's taken by the springs. Just say it's 10 pound, 10 kilos, whatever you like. Then gravity pulls it down and the springs counteract that. When it's up in this position, the weight of the door isn't in this direction, it's down. So you soon find that the door that was easy to open when it was horizontal gets a bit difficult. And then when you try to keep it in the lock position, it tends to spring back. So the solution, just cut yourself off a bit of 1/4 inch long shim, can be a stick, a nail, whatever. Then in the hinge, just insert it in, cover both sides of the hole, and there it is. Your door stays open. I'll put that down on a chain and just have it on the side. So that's what you need to do to make it safe in the vertical position. Put your job in, open the door slightly so it doesn't stay in the open position. I've also made the top of the frame to suit an exhaust fan. That was a fantastic job with rotting, smelly, congealed fat. Watch the next video to see how that turned out. And I recommend making a frame, and I recommend making it portable so as you can utilise your precious workspace a lot better. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe so any questions will be answered. Tell your friends and spread the word. If you didn't, let me know why not. And as always, thanks for watching.